Well, coming up, we have first Alvin, that she's bringing like the financial perspective. She has been a financial advisor for many years. Yes, of course. And has been working in Boulder Tech. So the previous 2 years, she has been related to real-world assets and has worked in the financial banks for financial trading institutions for a really long time. So she's bringing that side to the conversation. Next up, we have Guido Peirano, who comes with deep technical expertise as a software engineer at Mountain Protocol and is a founding team member of Lemon Cash. He's also a computer engineer from the Universidad de Buenos Aires with over 7 years of experience working and investing in crypto. Just Mountain is a protocol that is the issuer of USDM, that is a stablecoin. So that is what he brings to the table. Next up, we have also Laura Gonzalez. She is running our panel with her venture capital perspective. She has 6 years of basic experience and more than a decade working with Latin American startups. Today, she is leading the Founder School here at Crecimiento, working near the startups in Latin America to help them grow and success and thrive. So next up, and as a moderator, we'll have Santi from LISC. He focuses on helping developers and founders in emerging markets build meaningful Web3 projects. He's a global DevRel at LISC, and he's led the Web3 CA's Africa tour with over 20 workshops across 6 African countries. So he brings like all these impactful, he has many projects in many continents and has this broad perspective on what is important, what is not, and has guided many projects on that. So that's also what he brings to this panel. I hope you enjoy it. This is Where's the Real Value, and I leave you with them. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Dolo. Can you hear me properly? It's fine? Perfect. So today's panel will be about what is the real value that we have in crypto. First, I would like to start with a short introduction of every panelist today. But to start this introduction, I would like that some of the panelists start telling us a story about what is the most valuable thing that crypto give it to you so far. So what is the most valuable that you got? So I will kind of start with my answer to introduce myself as well. So I would say that Web3, in my case, give me purpose, because before I joined Web3, I was just playing around with a lot of things in life. I was a waiter, I was a dishwasher, I was a tuk-tuk driver. I was trying to find my way into my purpose. So I was like, I don't know what to do with my life until I got my first DevRel job. Then I was able to understand that my purpose in life right now is helping founders and developers to learn more about Solidity, about Web3. In this case, with LISC, we are supporting the founders as well. So yeah, to answer my question, Web3 give me purpose. So let's start with Laura.
Okay, so for me it has been more about community. Like, it's aligned with my purpose in life, which is helping build and catalyze new ventures, and regardless of the technology. But it's been a while since I wasn't like in a community that was this cooperative and like it's trying to push the ball forward and everyone is helping everyone. So I remember that a bit more than a decade ago when venture capital began in Latin America, it was like this. So it remembered me why I came into this in the first place.
Amazing, thank you, Laura. Albana, tell us a little bit about you too.
So for me, I think it gave me hope. Because I come from TradFi and I've lived through all the worst crises of the last many years. I saw regulators fail abruptly. I saw lots of injustice. I saw the politics of the Fed ruin lots of people, countries, businesses. And I don't like the way the financial system is working today. So when I found crypto, I found hope.
Amazing. Community, hope, and Guido, tell us about you, please.
I think that I have a lot of common with many of you. I've started with crypto, getting engaged on the narrative. I consider myself quite like a contrarian on many things. I don't like getting the information and just accepting it. I like to go over it and try to understand it for myself and how I can process it. And for all my life, I've found that many things that were like prescribed to life, I didn't like them. I didn't find I didn't saw them for the right fit for me. And with crypto, especially with Bitcoin in the beginning, I started feeling that kind of sense that, okay, this narrative, these things are telling me, I think it's a narrative I can fit into myself. I can see myself aligning to, and I think that's one of the first things, and also like the most specific thing that crypto gave me is the access to financial tools, to be able to get credits. Like the first actual credit I had was in crypto and not like in a traditional bank. So I think that's what hooked me up with this ecosystem.
Okay, financial inclusion as well. And that's a really developer mindset, Guido. You notice that. Amazing. Maybe, Guido, tell us a little bit about Lemon Cash and Mountain Protocol. What's that for people that never hear about Mountain Protocol and Lemon Cash?
Okay, so just a brief description. Lemon Cash is it's a crypto wallet here in Argentina that tries to merge crypto use cases and traditional use cases, so to be able to live your life through crypto. So people, it's the first card here in Argentina that allows you to have, for example, Bitcoin, USDC, USDT, whatever, and to spend with a debit card on traditional e-commerces and buy stuff with your crypto. So you actually live your life in crypto. And USDM is a stablecoin. There's a word for that. It's like a tightly regulated stablecoin that has T-bills to back up the TVL and allows users and holders to have yield just by holding the token, and then there's no need for staking or any other kind of protocol. So basically that.
Amazing. Thank you, Guido. Laura, general question for you first. Where do you see the value of crypto today? Metaverse, tokenization, DeFi?
Okay, so this might sound like a beauty pageant answer, but it's more related with actually the purpose of Web3 and crypto is, which is decentralization. Basically, what we've been seeing, like probably always, many of the good projects in venture capital and startups are those that remove the man from the middle. And basically, what we're doing with crypto and with Web3 is removing every single middleman and creating a sense of ownership and like property that's totally different, and that can create a lot of efficiencies. Now, about today, I think we're in a very interesting moment, and we've seen it before, even with other technologies. So we're at this inflection point in which we already have like the tech infrastructure that went through the kind of out of the lab, and we are looking to the first kind of widely adopted layer 2 and layer 3 projects. And what this is going to bring is a lot of scalability and mass adoption of these products. And then if we analyze how these can be combined with AI, we have super powerful technology that can create even a total different game changer in terms of not only like from an investor's perspective or for a builder's perspective, in the way that you can build things so much easier and try things in a faster pace, but also in like we're changing the rules, right? And this creates a lot of disruption, and that disruption is solving some problems, but it's creating other problems. So for instance, we have new solutions for those problems. And personally, this is where I like to focus the value, because it's like betting into those solutions that are going to be like 5 or 10 years from now, creating the whole value of the next problems that are needed to be solved. So a great example could be chain analysis in the cybersecurity space. So we not only know that this is creating the mass adoption, this is creating also the mass problems of the future. So there's where I think that the value of what you realize today.
Okay, amazing, Laura. AI and decentralization. Thank you. So, Aldana, for you, where do you see the value of tokenization? You coming from the traditional finance perspective, what do you think that the traditional finance, like investors or the retail, can come here and find value in the crypto space?
Well, I said that I have hope in DeFi because I want it to build something that makes the other flawed system obsolete. But today, though I love DeFi, most of the things that you can do in DeFi are not really adding value, or at least they are not like. I think that the first role of the financial system is like to move the funds that are not being used, that people want to save, into the most productive parts of the economy. And that's not really happening today in DeFi. Everything is like, I know, if I win, you lose, or maybe I'm getting the incentives of the investors and things like that. There are some protocols that are adding value, but not most of them. So I think that we should build a bridge between both worlds. The thing is that one world opens for 6 hours a day, from Monday to Friday. Most of the assets are traded over the counter and not in an electronic way. And that is very difficult to bridge into protocols that need, like, for example, liquidations, instant liquidations in any moment. So what I think is that what we need is to tokenize the differences, like the volatility, the depegging from an asset and its underlying, from a token and its underlying asset, and show TradFi that there is a way of uniting both worlds. And of course, we also need to show degen traders that there's more than looping, and that you can build a portfolio, that you can have different types of assets, different types of risks, different types of maturities, like plan your financial portfolio and not just look for the most impressive yield in the moment.
Yeah, I think one of the issues with the tokenization as well, it can be the regulations of each country. So yeah, something that can be tokenized in Argentina, maybe it's not the same in Colombia. And then that's where maybe with the time we will figure out that's the right path as well.
Yeah, most of the countries accept what's called the reverse solicitation. So if you get, for example, a license in Bermuda, then you're going to be able to offer products to not US and not some other countries, but most of the countries, if you do not target their audience. So you can do it. There's always risks, but I think that the US is signaling that regulators are going to start adapting to this new world, and maybe we are in front of a new era.
Amazing. Thank you. Guido, you have been onboarding people and users with wallets, with Lemon Cash, and then you have been helping users to manage the inflation and invest through Mountain Protocol with USDM. Where do you see that people find most value between these two different words of onboarding people with wallets or helping people with inflation stablecoins?
Okay, so I think that it depends on what kind of users you're talking about. If you ask like retail users, no coiner users as we used to call them, I think that crypto wallets do give a huge amount of value for them to be able to access this kind of these assets, and especially if we start working towards tokenizing new things, I think it's 10 times easier to buy Bitcoin on a crypto wallet than to buy a stock from any stock exchange / broker. So I think that for people that are just starting, those kind of products are the best, the ones that give them the most value. And for people that are already on the ecosystem, I think that we have to start building products that are not just for the financial end, so that people don't only think about the extraction of the value of the protocol that they are using. So it's not like, okay, I'm gonna use this protocol because I'm hoping for an airdrop, I'm hoping to get this amount of yield. So I think that, although it's kind of difficult because people just look for yield out there, but if we try to see past that and try to find a way to give crypto native people products that are not just centered on what's the yield you can get out of that, I think that's a huge value, because as the panel that was just before us, they were talking about, they said, we have to tell people that this is the dreamland, you know? And it's not only the dreamland because you're gonna make a lot of money, which you can obviously do, but it's the dreamland because we are offering you things that are maybe not that easy to get out there, like, for example, CK passports. You know, it's these kind of products that don't center themselves into the economic incentives, but what's beyond that, the privacy, you name it. But there's a lot of that in crypto that we can start giving to crypto native users. So that's my take.
Thank you, Guido. Let's go back to Laura, and now let's focus a little bit of founders, now that we have Rayuela Founder School here. So you have experience working with founders and also with VCs. Do you think that all of them are here chasing value, they are chasing hype, or what do you think that they are chasing in the crypto space? And if you think that they're chasing hype, for example, or something negative, what do you think that we can do from the crypto ecosystem to switch that mindset of chasing hype and focus on value?
Okay, that's a tricky one, because I was a founder myself, and we are in the market of optimism. If we don't have optimism about what we're building, then basically we can't survive. So there is a thin line between optimism and hype. And the hype is brought by the broad adoption of different technologies that enable new things. So as a founder, you're always looking for speed and for getting more efficient at your job, because you only have 24 hours to build something really, really big with a team that depends on you. And for instance, with AI, of course there's a hype, and there's always been a hype, the same as it was with the dot-com bubble. And what are the results 10 years later about the dot-com bubble? You had a lot of companies that were, again, like a dot-com. Like, I know that today for us it's very natural to have access a website, and this is what's going to happen in a few years. We're going to have access to AI, to the metaverse, to Web3, and we're going to look back and we're going to see clearly what the projects that were solving real use cases were, which were the Amazons, the Dachshunds, the DocuSigns, the Dropbox, the Airbnbs of today, even the Googles of today. But for instance, if you go and see history, when Google knocked the door at Yahoo, they told them that they were building nothing, basically, and they were crazy, and their product didn't add value. And I'm not sure if you had the chance of watching Peter Thiel's video, that competition is for losers. That happens when you are creating a new space. You're creating a new market. Nobody understands you, and basically nobody sees a real use case for that. Those are very few cases. Like, that's not only the VC has a power law that basically just 10% of the projects survive, and from that 10%, 4% really knock it off the stadium. But it's like the power law of the power law. So it's really hard to define, especially in the stages that we are right now with crypto, what is a hype and what isn't. Even though, especially in our geographies, we see clearly and we live clearly, like Albana just told us, like the real use cases of this kind of solutions. So when you go and, I don't know, when you go to Miami and you see all the crypto bros that are kind of trading or that are looking, I don't know, like a use case for crypto that it can make a lot of money, but it's not necessarily changing lives. In here, the only reason because that Argentina is the fourth country of crypto adoption is because basically it was a survival tool. It was a survival tool against inflation. It was a survival tool against the depreciation of their currency. And come on, we're Colombian. We have suffered that too. So it's kind of in this latitudes, we see that that hype and that thin line can create a whole new different opportunity for very deep markets that in terms of investment and of unit economics translate into a reduced cost of acquisition that generates the adoption of those technologies and begins to like help you see the difference between hype and not hype. So what we can do, and probably the guys over there that are from Founder School are tired from hearing this from me, but it's like, are you solving a problem or not? And usually, as a founder, you go straight to the solution and you go straight to this is what my product is doing. But if you focus enough on this is the problem that I'm solving, and I'm solving a problem that's big enough and that has like these real use cases, like there's no way that it can be a hype. So it sounds kind of simple, but it's really, really difficult to articulate the problem that you're solving. What we can do, we can like separate the hype from the technology and seeing the technology as a tool and understanding that if we want to build a business and if we want to solve a problem, we have to focus on the problem and on building the business, and the rest is kind of tools.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Laura. Alvin, switching a little bit the perspective now to traditional finance. You have worked with retail investors and institutional investors. What do you think that they are coming to crypto? Where do they see the value, or what we can do to provide more value to the traditional finance?
Yeah, okay. I think institutions are scared about what they are going to lose. So they come in because they see that they are not going to make it go away as they thought, disappear as they hoped for a long while. They didn't want to be the first ones because they don't want to get in trouble with the governments and regulators. So sometimes they stepped in, at acquiring small companies, small projects that were already working there, like happened with Ondo. And but now I think that they are less shy and they want to come in. Of course, they would love it to be much more centralized than we would like, but they want to catch the value and they are looking more for efficiency in procedures and not so much disruption. Okay? In the case of retail, I think that I am a speaker to people outside the ecosystem, and whenever you say blockchain crypto, the first thing they say is, I don't understand, I don't get it, and I think that they close their ears at that moment. It's not that easy, that difficult, but I know there's a little bit, in Uruguay, for example, that our financial system works, as she says, our currency appreciates against the dollar, unluckily. People don't see the real need in the day-to-day of crypto, but they're interested in the technology and in what is happening and what is going on. I think that we need to get better UXs because I'm a professor in the university. I try to show my students the DeFi apps, and it's I got to approve 5 times with my MetaMask, and they keep looking and it's not working. No, this is okay. This is the way it works. So we need to get more clear and easy UX for them to get into it. I think that today they see it as an asset, as a risky asset. That's why whenever the traditional finance, SPY, Standard & Poor's, or Nasdaq crash, crypto crashes too. It's like an exogenous contagion. They don't know the fundamentals, so they don't know why they buy the assets, so they don't know why they sell them. And that, we need education and diffusion and onboarding, I don't know.
That's exactly how I wanted to wrap up that comment, that to tackle the retail investors, we just need to provide a lot of education, because that's the only way that we can educate the people to join the ecosystem. So yeah, thank you, Albana, for doing those things in the university.
And when you start to talk about education, the first thing you say is, we don't need regulators, we don't need third parties, we just need to believe in the architecture of the system. And And that, the first thing, they think that you're like an anarchist,
Yeah.
and you have to deconstruct lots of the way they're thinking, the old paradigm. So I try to put like videos of permissionless talks, but it's difficult because day to day people feel that if they need regulators. And in Uruguay, that regulators are not so bad, it's really difficult to tell students, no, we don't need regulators. We can do the laws of math or the laws of engineering. It's very difficult for them to understand it.
Makes sense. And also, to have the regulators doing something, they need to be educated as well, right? So we need to start, the education is the base of the value. Yeah, perfect. Guido, let's switch to Mountain Protocol or Lemon Cash. I would like to know, what are you doing as a software developer or founding engineer team member from Lemon Cash to actually provide value to the people using the wallet or using the stablecoin to make these tools for like the everyday users? Like, what are you doing to be able to tackle the everyday users in general?
Okay. First, on the Monta Protocol side, we work mainly by giving the users back their capacity to have yield by simulating a high yield checking account, and being able for them to have the token integrated into different protocols that allow them to have a better financial efficiency. For example, integrating with perpetual contracts and allowing them to have their collateral on a perpetual contract have a lower funding rate, but because by using USDM, for example, for a perpetual contract, you wouldn't have to bear all the costs of the funding rate because the token itself would pay with the interest for part of that funding rate. So it's just about integrating this asset, this tool, to all the protocols that are able to have that. We're also working with a lot of institutions because our product is mainly institutional centric, as it focuses mainly on having the lowest amount of risk for them. So that's the way we tackle institutions, by showing them that with us there's no like trust. There's like the trust in us is as low as it can be, and it's more on the structures that we rely upon. I think that's one of the main focuses of the added value we try to give the users. And with products such as Lemon Cash, I think that it's about allowing users to access this wide amount of tools such as DeFi, with loans, with swaps, with whatever you name it. I think that's the main goal you want to reach in the end. You know, it's about allowing them to have access to all of these products that are out there and are on the traditional finance somehow difficult to get, and in DeFi they're really easy to get. It's really difficult to get a loan, to get a credit card on a traditional bank. It's really easy to get a credit card, for example, now with Exactly Finance. It's really easy to do that. So I think that Lemon Cash and all of the crypto wallets out there are trying to bridge that gap and allowing them to allowing these new users to reach that kind of products, to reach that kind of added value. I think that it's tough because, as Alvi said, it's difficult to educate people. People start thinking you're an anarchist. I think most of us are in some way, but it's not that crypto is only for anarchists. It's for everyone. Everyone can reach into crypto. Everyone can learn about crypto. There's no need to truly understand to the end of how everything works. You just need to get a general idea of how it works, and there's a lot of building going on in that sense to try to bridge the gap to new users that are not familiar, are uneducated, that when they try to interact with crypto, they see like a bunch of screens and they say like, oh, so it's failing. No, this is exactly how it should work. And I think that in that sense, today, right now, there are a lot of things that are coming up in crypto that are really gonna change how we interact with different protocols, with different things. And I think that this new wave of technology that it's coming with the new updates, the protocol to Ethereum, to everything, are gonna start to accelerate the adoption to users by allowing them to have more frictionless interactions with DeFi protocols and being able to, instead of depending of a chain of different companies to provide you for a lending product, to just connect to DeFi and interact with that pretty easily.
Yeah, amazing. That's what I love about crypto, that is basically accessible for everyone, everywhere. So that's the beauty. That's why we are all here. So we are kind of getting to the end of the panel, but I have the two last questions. I will just allow you to answer in one sentence each. Okay? No more than one sentence. So let's start with Laura. Laura, what is the biggest red flag that you see in crypto that is actually not providing value? So yeah, you can start thinking about that. One sentence each, please.
The red flag, like in crypto,
Something
in a
that is not
product
providing
or-
value in anything. It can be the ecosystem, a specific protocol, something that is not providing value in crypto. You can start, Alvin? Yeah.
Meme coins.
Yeah. The meme coins, okay.
Yeah, I think that for me it's just like the part of what we were saying before, like before when we were in the speakers room, like there's a lot of people that's just using it to leverage even meme coins, but just like the trade that they want to like take the free lunch. And I mean, I don't want to point the elephant in the room, but it happened here in January, kind of. So it's kind of that, seeing it just as an opportunity to like inflate an asset and then take advantage of that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. And Guido?
Yeah, I also agree. I would call it grief of protocols trying to extract the maximum amount of value of retail users and leaving them in the end quite tired of the ecosystem, you know, because they see a lot of possibilities of getting a lot of money very quick, and they end up living with their hands empty, and that's really tiring for people, and that's what ends up pushing people away of the ecosystem.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Guido. And then the last one, just one word. Now just one word, no one
One word.
sentence.
The next one is just a letter
The answer is just one word.
or a vowel. You
So-
can pick it.
Now this one is, where have you seen the value of crecimiento?
I think I'm biased. Like, I'm part of this. We've built Founder School. We had 1 month to build it. Like, literally, Juan called me and like, how about Bangkok the day after tomorrow?
Laura, one word. One word, please.
But again, how can you? Okay, community.
Me too.
The startup school.
Oh, startup school. Okay, Guido.
I was gonna go with the community also, but I'm
There
gonna
you
go
go.
with ecosystem.
Ecosystem. Okay, amazing. And then I will go with opportunities, because everyone here has the opportunities to connect with other people with great protocols.
It was one word.
And I'm closing the panel. So please clap the hands for the
Network.
panelists here. Thank you so much.